If you're a real estate agent looking to take more listings in 2024, bring exclusive cash offers and selling solutions to your marketplace, and blow up your business, stay tuned. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I have missed you all. It has been a few weeks since I have been on a live coaching call with you Zoodealio members, and first one for me for the year. So happy new year. I hope your year is off to a great start. But hey, did you know just 3 days ago was Quitter's Day? Apparently it's the day when everybody quits their New Year's resolutions. It just gets too hard, or maybe they didn't anticipate the challenges that were going to arise, so they just stop and they quit those New Year's resolutions. I hope that's not you. If you had a resolution, I hope you're still sticking with it. Who feels like this is just such a pivotal year for real estate? I sure am. I see signs that our icy housing market is defrosting. We have all of these different lawsuits that are just really wreaking havoc on our industry. And I think it is one of those years we're going to look back on, and it's going to be a pivotal year. It will define, I believe, many things in real estate. And I'm hoping this is the year that you get to define what success looks like for you in your business. Today, I'm going to be going over something that we get asked a lot here at Zoodealio. And so I think you're going to be excited about that. Again, as I mentioned, this is something that we get asked often at Zoodealio. For instance, when we are onboarding agents or when we're showing best practices on how to use Zoodealio in their business, we're continually asked how to use it on a listing appointment. How can I use the offer dashboard in my listing appointment? How can I present the offers and options and that sort of thing? And so what I'm going to do today is go through how you can use the offer dashboard in your listing appointment. I'm going to share some just items that I believe are best practices, some nuggets that I think that you can take from. One thing I know is that all of us have our unique way of delivering that listing appointment, listing consultation, maybe selling appointment, if you will. And we all kind of have our own secret sauce. And I'm a big believer in making it your own. It's got to be authentic. It's got to feel like it came from you. But what I also know is that success leaves clues, and there are things that you can be doing to optimize that appointment. And so what I wanted to do today is take you through the framework of how I would go in on a listing appointment and deliver the offers and the options, and also pivot to the listing in the event the offers and the options don't make sense for that homeowner. The first thing I want to kind of go through, and I've talked about this before, is I really feel like we're in this state where we have to almost have this paradigm shift. It is no longer a real estate agent. It's no longer a role for us. I really believe that those of us that really thrive in this industry are going to shift from being a real estate agent to that real estate advisor. We're really going to be the ones that come in and give expert advice. We're really professional mind maker uppers, and we help guide people to the best decision for them. And so I think that as our role shifts, what also will shift is the listing appointment will shift to a selling appointment. And when you show up to that listing appointment with cash offers in hand, you truly have the opportunity to sell the home right then and there. And so as you're kind of thinking through these two things, they may be a little bit different than what you've experienced in the past or what you've done in the past. And so I kind of want to keep those forefront in your mind. I know I talk about this a lot, but it is really important because times are changing. And I really believe that as they do, those of us that can shift our mindsets and think of things a little bit differently will really, really win in this market. So as I think through the listing appointment or the listing consultation or the selling appointment, however you term that, one thing that I know is that you got to be prepared. And I'm a big believer in being prepared for that time that you're going to have with that homeowner. You know, when you get that FaceTime, it is just paramount that you are prepared and you are the expert during that time. And so I have a list of items that I believe will help you prepare for that listing presentation. Now, of course, you're going to confirm the appointment, and I have a script I'm going to share with you here in a moment where you can weave in the offers just to set the expectation that you have some meaningful offers to go through with them. Also, you're going to research the property data online. Obviously, I know that many of us are doing this, but if you're not, or if maybe you're only going and checking this estimate, I would highly encourage you to go to all of the sites that a consumer can go on. So go to realtor.com, go to Zillow, go to homes.com, go to Redfin, go to Movoto, go to RPR, go to all of those big sites. And I would highly encourage you to notate the value that each of those sites says that the home is worth. The reason being is because that is where your homeowner is going to be going on, and they're going to be looking at the value of their home online. So you got to be prepared. You got to know that information. I know that some of this is really fundamental, but it's important that we just get back to the basics and take a quick peek at these really important items. Of course, you're going to prepare your market analysis. So you're going to prepare your CMA. Maybe you use RPR. Maybe you use some other CMA report, but you're going to want to get that ready. Another thing that I recommend is really creating that buyer persona. This is going to set you apart from your competition, because I can tell you that your competition is not doing this. But it is important that you really look at this home and identify through the lens of who's going to be buying that, what are their key attributes, what's important to them, and really make that list, create that buyer persona for the home. And then, of course, you're going to get your cash offers from Zoodealio. I'm going to show you in just a moment 2 ways that you can do that. And you may take some time and preview some of the competing listings. This is something that I would recommend maybe if you haven't been in homes in that neighborhood in a bit, or maybe you're noticing some high swings between the comps and you want to go kind of check out those competing listings. Okay, so those are the pre-listing action items. Now, based on what we just went through, I did say that I have a script I'm going to share with you for the confirmation appointment. And then I also am going to take you into your Zoodealio agent dashboard and show you how you can get those offers from Zoodealio or just get the value. So we're going to do those 2 things next. Here's the script. And the reason I love a confirmation script is because you don't want to show up to the listing appointment and, have them not be there or forget the time, that sort of thing. Another thing that I like to make sure is that all of the decision makers are present when I show up on appointment. Not only is their time valuable, but my time is valuable. And the last thing that I want to do is go and spend an hour at somebody's home when only one of the decision makers is present. And so I think it's really important that you send a scripted out confirmation message. Maybe it's text, maybe it's email. When I wrote this one, it was geared towards email, but you really want to confirm your appointment, confirm the decision makers will be there. And then also I would sizzle the cash offers. I would let them know that you do have some cash offers and options that you can take a peek at while you're there. And so you're kind of building that anticipation and letting them know that you're already showing up with tremendous value for them. So this is just an example sample script that you could use to confirm that listing appointment. And of course, as always, if you would like a copy of my slides today, you can always email me. It's my first name, Kayla, Kala, at Zoodealio.com. Or if you reply back to the email that you got this recording, you can ask them for slides and our support team will happily give you the slides that way as well. So just keep in mind that you got to confirm the appointment, confirm that the decision makers are there. When I was in the field listing continually, I would also, in the confirmation email, I would let them know that I would like a copy of their house key so that they could get that house key ready. So keep that in mind too. You can throw in anything else that's important to you. But now I'm going to show you how to get those cash offers in Zoodealio so that when you show up to the listing appointment, you're ready to rock. So I'm in the Zoodealio agent dashboard. And there are really 2 things that you could do here. So you're going to click this Get Cash Offers button. And as you click this Get Cash Offers button, you can go through and you can create this homeowner as a seller in your platform. So you can do that. And how you would do that is you would just start typing in the address. It works really similar to the front end landing page. Once you get the address in there, you just want to see if there's any information that you need to add in. So for instance, it didn't pull the bedrooms on this one. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add the bedrooms. Now, I want to point something out to you right now. So you can do garage, you can do sewer, and that sort of thing. Now, the first thing that you can do here is just finish filling this out and type in their information. I would turn notifications off and then just click register them as a lead. What's going to happen when you do that is it's going to pull the offer dashboard already. It will source the offers at that moment. And so when you show up at the listing appointment, you're going to have those offers ready. And I think that that's pretty cool because if you have them ready, then when you show up at the appointment, you can just fire up your device and pull them up and you're good to go. You're ready to talk about them. Now, you could go through this process with them if you would like. So those are really the two ways you could go about this. You could fill this out with them, and that's always an option as well. But I do like the idea of just having it preloaded. And, this is considering it's somebody that you've not provided cash offers to in the past. Maybe it's, a new lead, or you got a phone call from your marketing saying, hey, considering selling my home, can you come by and tell me what my home is worth? So that is kind of the two ways you can handle that. You can either pre-register them by clicking the Get Cash Offers, or you can wait till you're there and you can do it with them. Okay, so that's just how to get those cash offers sourced. Another benefit of getting the cash offers before you arrive is then you have the opportunity to see what those cash offers came back at. And as you know, with the Cash Plus and the Sell Now, Move Later, the goal of the buyer's offer is for it to be a full market value cash offer. And so if you source the offers beforehand, it gives you an opportunity to see what those offers come back at. And then it also gives you the opportunity to request a manual review if you feel that the offers are too high or too low. All right. So when you arrive at the listing appointment, of course, when they open the door, you're going to say hi, right? You're going to introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Kayla. I'm excited to kind of be here with you today. And here's something else that is so important that I want you to do. I want you to ask them if it would be okay to spend a few minutes touring the home. And of course, they're going to say yes. And then after they say yes, then you're going to say, okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and set my belongings down at the kitchen table. And so the reason why I want you to have that conversation when you first show up is because it's extremely awkward to be trying to deliver offers and information and market value and your marketing plan when you're sitting on a couch, for instance. And so you want to direct the conversation. You want to make sure you end up at the kitchen table. And I also believe this does a few things. Number one, it demonstrates your expertise. It demonstrates as you're walking into that listing appointment that you have a plan. You have done this before. You know exactly what's going to happen next. And it guides them through that process. And it's an icebreaker because let's face it, it's a little awkward having, some stranger show up into your home and start walking around. And so if you show up with a plan, like you've done this a million times and you demonstrate that expertise, you're automatically going to elevate your positioning in their mind. So I want you to say hi, of course. I want you to let them know that you'd like a quick tour around the home. But prior to that, let's go ahead and set our belongings down at the kitchen table. Once you do that and you're touring the home, here's another really important moment for you. I firmly still believe that it's best to take notes as you're walking around the home. And I know that, digital age has changed and some of us may be walking around and taking notes on this, but there's just definitely something about that pen to paper and really elevates your expertise in their mind. And so I would just encourage you, bring a notepad, take notes. You're going to, of course, compliment any of the features about their home. You're going to ask them what they like about their home. You're going to ask them what they think that the next buyer is going to love about their home. You're going to know any positives, any negatives, that sort of thing. And then here is also a moment for you to snap a few quick pictures so that you can upload them into Zoodealio to get better offers. And so also use that opportunity to ask them, would it be okay if I took a few pictures so that we could get the highest possible cash offers? And of course, they're going to say yes. And so take some quick photos as you're, kind of touring that home and learning about that home. And this is, I believe, one of the best ways to build rapport with them as you're kind of walking through their space. Of course, after you finish the quick tour, you're going to end up back at the kitchen table. And so as you end up back at the kitchen table, here's your opportunity to really do a few things. Of course, you're going to power up your device and, maybe you need to get on their Wi-Fi. So you're going to ask them for their Wi-Fi password. Of course, if they ask you for a glass of water, take it. If somebody offers you a beverage or even a cookie, if they just made cookies, always say yes. It is a sign of good hospitality to accept that. So please say yes to that water or that beverage. And one thing I want to point out, because it was something that was really key for me, and I believe kind of really pivotal in my success, was I really studied body language and I paid attention to my body language as well as theirs. But, I can control mine. And so I would really pay attention to my body language. And as I do that, I kind of want to just share with you the importance of our body language when we're in this professional setting or any setting, really. The words that we're speaking have very little impact on the overall message of what we're communicating. And researchers have shown that 7% or less of the words that we speak actually convey the overall message. Our tone of voice and our tonality, our pacing, all of that accounts for 38% of what we're sharing in that message and that communication. And so you can see here that how you're talking is even more important than what you're saying. And then what is even more important and what conveys more of that overall message is your body language. So 55% of how we communicate is our body language. And so you really got to pay attention to how you are, really how you're being in that moment. And I know it's tough, and sometimes you walk in on these listing appointments and there's kids and there's pets and maybe a dog jumping on you. Unfortunately, maybe a dog peeing on you. Happened to me a few times. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And so you got a lot going on. There's a lot to kind of be wrestling with. And in that mix where you've got all of this stimulus, you really want to make sure that in that small space between the stimulus and response, you're paying attention to you. So I had a few tips that I wanted to just kind of share with you quickly. Smile, use your best accessory. A smile is warmth, it's friendly. Be enthusiastic. I cannot share with you how many times I believe that they listed with me because I'm excited about real estate. I'm excited about the real estate market. I'm excited about the challenges of markets. So when times are tough, it's a challenge. It's exciting for me. Be enthusiastic. Spin that in however you need. Be confident. Stand up straight. Don't slouch. Have open posture. One thing that is really important is to have your palms up. So if you're at the kitchen table, don't hide your hands underneath the kitchen table. Bring your hands out, bring them on the table ever so slightly, maybe rest them, and maybe rest your palms up. It's a very vulnerable position, and it communicates openness and trust. And so it's just really important that you just pay attention to these little things. Make eye contact, but not too much because that's creepy. So break it, but make eye contact. You definitely want to show that you're confident and you can look them in the eye. And I think that also translates into negotiating. When you're able to make eye contact with somebody, I think that it says that you're also going to be a good negotiator. And these are all of the things that someone wants when they're choosing the person that's going to represent them to sell their home. And of course, the biggest thing for us is listen. listen, and really hear what they're saying. Repeat back what they say. So if they say that, they're concerned about market conditions because they've noticed some other signs up in the neighborhood for a while, repeat back to them. Okay, so I understand that, there's some homes in your neighborhood where the signs have been up for a while and you're a little concerned about that. And just repeat back to them what they say. It will make them feel heard, and it will make them feel that you are truly listening to them and just not trying to cram information down their throats. And then, of course, use your tone and pacing appropriately. For women, try lowering the octave of your tone of voice and slowing down when you're trying to make a really important point, maybe such as the fee for my services is 6%. Slow it down, lower your octave, that sort of thing. So those were just some quick tips that I would be remiss if I didn't just quickly share with you. Okay, next, you're sitting at the kitchen table. You have powered up your device, and this is the best time to ask them questions. Your brilliance isn't demonstrated by what you tell somebody. Your brilliance is truly demonstrated by the thought-provoking questions that you ask them. And so now is your opportunity to ask them questions about, why are you selling, right? What reasons are you considering selling your home? What's your time frame? You're uncovering their motivation. You're trying to see what their pain points are. You're asking them if they've sold a home before. What was that experience like? You're asking them that, hey, maybe the home could use some new carpeting. Are you able to make those repairs? Are there any other repairs that are going to come up that are you going to be able to make? Will you be buying your next home, right? Like, where are you going from here? Uncovering if they're going to need you to maybe pass them a referral or help them buy their next home. Ask them what their expectations of you are. So you want to know these things. And then, of course, you want to ask them, are they interested in seeing the cash offers and the options that are available on their home today? So once they do that, and you ask them that question, I think it's a great time. You're going to learn a lot during that time frame. When you're asking those questions and you're uncovering their motivation, you're going to learn a lot about what their goals are. And so now's a great time for you to pivot. And so you can thank them for sharing openly about their goals. Maybe you tie back in something that they've shared with you. But here's your pivot. Before we talk about what listing your home on the open market would look like, would it be okay if I spent a few minutes going over some cash offers and options that are available to you? This is the pivot. And it's so simple because, of course, they're going to say yes. Of course, they're going to want to see the cash offers and the options that are available to them. And so it's a great tee up to pivot into you then kind of taking the reins and now showing them some of what you have to offer. And the reason why I think it's important that you go through what their motivations are, what their experience selling homes has been, is because that's going to give you a lot of insight as to maybe what cash offer and options would be a good fit for them, or maybe even if they're not a good fit for them, right? Because here's the thing, these aren't for everybody. And what we say about the Zoodealio cash offers is they are a great conversation starter. They're a great hedge, but they're not for everybody. And most sellers go on to list their home on the open market. And so the beauty is that you want to be able to share with them these different unique offerings that you have exclusive to you, but then you also want to let them know that you are the best person for the job of listing their home. And I also think that having the hedge of the cash offer just really reinforces that. Okay, so that's the pivot script. And then from there, you're going to open your offer dashboard. So before I open the offer dashboard, I just wanted to share with you a quick checklist of kind of the items that I would go through as I'm opening that offer dashboard. And we're going to do it here live together. But first thing I'm going to do is open that offer dashboard. Next thing I'm going to do is share it with them. So remember, I entered this on their behalf, and so they've not yet seen these offers, they've not seen the dashboard. And so I want to share it with them because I want them to be able to go back and revisit these offers in the future. So I'm going to share it with them. The next thing I'm going to do is just quickly explain the real value and what that is coming in at. Then we're going to quickly explain the preliminary offers and what that means. And we're going to give a brief explanation of each offer. We're going to open up the view offer details pages. And then if I hadn't already, I'm going to go ahead and add the listing to the offer dashboard in real time. And if we need to ask for a manual review of the offers, I will do that in this brief little time together as well. First thing, I'm going to share it with them. So I'll pull it up and I'll say, here are the cash offers and the options that are available on your home. I have an extensive network of cash buyers, and it's connected to over $10 billion in purchasing power. And so these are offers that buyers are making on your home today. They're ready, willing, and able. And I want to share this with you so that you can reflect back on this later. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. I'm going to grab this link and then I'm going to take it into maybe my texting or my email, however I'm communicating with them. I'm going to copy that in there and I'm going to send that to them. That way they have the offer dashboard to refer back to once I'm gone. Okay, so that's the simple first step. And the next thing I'm going to do is just explain that the system uses the real value, which is an automated valuation model of the homes in your area, and it's based on recent sales data. And so the real value for your home is coming in currently at $441,812. Now, what I'm also going to do next is just do a quick recap of all of the different offers that are available on their home. So it looks like for your home, we have a cash offer, we have the cash plus offer, we have the sell now, move later offer, and we have the fix it and list it offer. Now, I'm going to quickly just explain the different offers and how they work. So the cash offer is similar to a retail iBuyer cash offer. This is a cash offer to you. The benefit is you accept this cash offer, you can pick your close date, you can move when you want, and it's really easy, it's really convenient. You get to skip all of the stress of getting your home ready for a sale and all of the showings and all of that. And it looks like your net on the cash offer would be about $320,000. Now, some of the the cons to the cash offer is, as you can see, this cash offer is considerably lower than market value. And so although you wouldn't have to make any repairs or do any updates to your home, you'd be leaving quite a bit of money on the table. Now, these cash offers from these cash buyers, they change continually. So this could go up or down depending on market conditions. And it looks like where we're standing today is quite lower than what we could get if we were to bring your home to the open market. And so what I also want to share with you is that the cash plus offer is a full market value cash offer. And you'll see here that this came in right at what the real value of the home came in at. And because of that, it might be worth exploring. So let's take a look at the cash plus offer. Some of the benefits to the cash plus offer is it does give you that full market value cash offer. So you get all of the benefit of that full market value cash offer, and you don't have to leave too much money on the table. Now, another benefit of this offer, as you'll see, is you get to pick your own close date. Once you accept the cash offer, the buyer will do a home inspection, and when they close, you're going to get your first payout. So this sale works a little bit different than other sales. It's a structured payout. And so the reason this buyer is able to make you a full market value cash offer is because they're structuring the payout to you. And how they do that is initially you're going to get paid out at, for instance, 80% of market value, and then the remainder is going to be given to you when the home sells on the open market. Now, another cool aspect about this offer is you can maximize the return of equity to you by partnering with the buyer, and the buyer will come in after you move out, and the buyer will update, repair, and refresh your property. So this is a really cool value add, especially if some things need to be done to enhance the resale value of the home. And then of course, after that's done, the home gets sold on the open market. We can take a look at what the numbers are and what the breakdown of that is. But I want to show you kind of some of the other projects that the buyer has done where it's really enhanced the resale value of the home. And so I can go through, some of these case studies here. You can see in this situation, the seller made an extra $147,000 more by partnering with the buyer and having the buyer go in and make these repairs after you move out. And you can see here the home before and the home after. They do kitchen remodels. They'll do bathroom remodels. So you can see here was a bathroom remodel. The before was just kind of basic and a little outdated, and after it really spruced it up and made the home shine. So we can kind of spend a few moments and kind of go through what some of these repairs and renovations would look like. So that's how I would present this to the seller. Now keep in mind, if the seller's home was beautiful and perfect and turnkey, I wouldn't spend time focusing on this. Now, on the other hand, if I knew that the seller's home was outdated, maybe it was really super cluttered, maybe they needed new carpet, new paint, maybe they needed their cabinets refreshed, maybe they needed bathrooms remodeled, all of these things, I would be taking note of this as I'm touring the home, and then I would be tailoring my presentation to them in real time. So keep that in mind, that as you're going through this process, it is not going to be a one size fits all approach, right? Like, it would be weird if every time I met with a seller, I said the same thing, because every seller's home is unique and every seller's situation is unique. So keep that in mind, that you're tailoring this to them in real time. So as I'm doing that, I would also then go through the sell now, move later, and then I would go through the fix it and list it, so forth and so on. I want to kind of point out what I believe are pros and cons of each offer in the dashboard, because I also think it's important that you highlight the positives as well as the negatives, right? Like, we want to give people that eyes wide open look at these offers and options and help them make the best decision for them, right? We don't want to shove one down their throat or push them in one direction. We really want to just share with them all of the different offers and options. So cash offer, pro. Well, they get to pick their close date. Pro, they get to skip the showings, they get to skip the stress, they get to skip the open houses, and they don't have to make any repairs or updates. And so the cash offer can be a great option. Now, what we're seeing and what you just saw from the offer dashboard is a lot of times the cash offers are coming in way below market value. And so that would definitely be a con. At this moment in time, a lot of the cash offers are coming in low, right? So they're going to leave a lot of money on the table. They're also not going to be able to play the open market. And what we know is many times the open market brings the highest possible price. And so ultimately, with the cash offer in today's environment, they may be leaving too much money on the table. Now, I want to just add an asterisk here, because this can change. And I believe we're going to see more investor institutional activity in the real estate market, likely in the back half of 2024. And when that happens, we could see these offers become more competitive. Okay, so just asterisking this, because depending on the current macroeconomic conditions, local conditions, market conditions, interest rates, all of that jazz will depend on how these offers compare to that open market listing. Okay, I want to also give pros and cons quickly for the Cash Plus offer. So when you're going through the Cash Plus offer, I believe the pros are it is a full market value cash offer. Now keep in mind, if the offer that's returned in the dashboard seems like it's too low or too high, please communicate that with us. We want to hit it right. It doesn't do the seller it doesn't do them any good if the offer is too high. Why? Well, because it's a structured sale. There's the reserve involved. If the offer's too high and it ends up selling for less on the open market, they're not going to receive all of their reserve returned. And so you want to make sure that it's just right. On the other hand, if the offer is too low, that's not doing them any favors either, because if the offer is too low, then that first payout isn't as much as it could be, and that could impact their decision on whether to accept a cash plus offer. Now, cash plus offer, another con is they get to skip the showings in the stress. They get to sell on their own timetable. The cash plus offer does have a flexible lease back. And so there's a late checkout that's available. There's also a post possession that can be negotiated. So if the seller needs a little bit more time in that home, this is something that the buyer is willing to do. You just have to let the Zoodealio's offers team know that when you're negotiating the offer. And then what another huge benefit of the cash plus offer is the flip your own home strategy. And so the buyer will partner with the seller to make repairs to enhance the home's value so that when you list the home on the open market, it sells for top dollar. Now, I cannot think of a better product out there, especially for the individuals that their home needs a little bit of TLC. So I can think of an example recently where the seller lived in their home. They were the original owners. They'd lived in their home for like 20 something years, and it was all original. Now, they maintained the home well over the years. So, it was in good repair, but it was super outdated. I mean, if you can imagine 20 something year old carpet, right? It just needed to be replaced. The home needed to be refreshed. And many of the homes in the neighborhood had already undergone renovations and updates. And so their home was drastically, on the kind of disrepair end for what was commanding in that neighborhood. And so with the flip your own home strategy, the buyer will partner with the seller on those repairs. How it works is during the inspection period, the buyer will propose a list of repairs as well as the costs associated with those repairs. Now, the seller gets to have a look at these repairs and a look at the costs associated with these repairs, and the seller gets to decide, do I want to make these repairs or do I not? A little tidbit for you. Last year, of all of the cash pluses, 78% of them had some sort of repair component. So it's a very popular offering, and a lot of sellers see the value in partnering with the buyer on the repairs so that it will enhance the resale value of the home. So couple things to keep in mind though. The seller is in full control. The seller gets to decide, do I want to do this or do I not? The seller also gets to decide the scope of what needs to be done. So for instance, another cash plus recently that I can think of, the home needed repairs, needed updating, actually needed a whole new kitchen. It was pretty rough, all new bathrooms, but it was one of those kitchens where there's a wall dividing the great room and the kitchen. And if that wall was removed, this home would just really open up. It would show so much bigger. It would just really be a massive positive influence on the marketing and the resale of that property, and I believe would fetch way more on the open market. Now, when presented with the list of all of the items, the seller decided that removing that wall was not important to them, and they did not want to invest the money in removing that wall. And so guess what? The wall didn't get removed. So brand new kitchen going in. I don't believe it was the best decision. There was some pushback on the agent, but ultimately the seller's in control, and the seller wanted to cap the repairs at a certain dollar amount. And because of that, the wall wasn't coming out. And so I'm sharing this with you so you can get ideas when you're in the field and when you're talking with sellers. It truly is their decision. And because ultimately, second thing we need to keep in mind is the cost of these repairs is coming from their equity. Now, there's nothing out of pocket, right? They don't have to fork out of pocket money to make these repairs, but it is coming from their equity. And so they got to make sure that they're comfortable with the amount that's being set aside to make these repairs. Another huge benefit of the Cash Plus is they get to move out. So buyer closes on their home, they get to move out, and then repairs are made. And so, if you've ever lived in a home while it's being repaired or renovated, it is not much fun. And so that's another huge benefit. And then the last kind of thing I want to note on the cons is if the home sells for more on the open market, the seller gets all of that upside. So there are circumstances where renovations and repairs are made and property commands more on the open market. And because of that, the benefit to that seller is they get all of that upside between that offer amount that was originally made to them and then what the home sells for on the open market. And I wasn't intending today on going into a deep dive of the Cash Plus, but just two other things that I want to comment on before I go to the cons in that on the Cash Plus, you retain the listing. So you will bring that home to market on behalf of the buyer. Okay. So you retain that listing. I think this is huge for us as agents, especially given the environment that we're headed into with buyer broker commissions, just having a huge question mark hanging over them and what that's going to look like in the future. It has never been more important for you to have inventory. Inventory is how you're going to be able to make magic happen. And if you have a seller that's considering a cash offer, this is so brilliant because not only does it give them the cash offer, that easy exit, a cool repair strategy, but it also allows you to keep that inventory so you can market and get more business from your business. All right, cons. Oh, and the second thing I wanted to mention on that is commissions, because we get asked, what is the commissions? Now, commissions are negotiable, and you can negotiate with the seller something different than this if you would like. But what I will share with you and what I will show you in the offer dashboard right now is that commissions are already included in this offer. So as you're viewing the offer, when you click see breakdown, you're going to see that there's already a 7.5% commission included. And how that breaks down is when the buyer purchases the property, you're paid 2%. And then when it comes time to resell the property, you're paid another 4.5%. And of that 4.5%, 2.5% is set aside for a buyer broker commission. In the event there's no buyer broker, or if it's negotiated, then you keep whatever that ends up being. So 2% on the first sale, 4.5% on the second sale. And then you could be looking at that number right now going, wait, that's only 6.5 and that's 7.5. Well, the reason why the agent commissions and resale closing costs fee is 7.5% is because that extra percent is reserved for the additional closing costs when the property resells. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you, Jean. Jean said this process is so easy and amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that awesome feedback. All right. So I just wanted to quickly mention the commissions and that you keep the listing. When we deep dive into offers training, we go through that, but just always important to kind of keep that top of mind. And as I mentioned on commissions, they're negotiable. And we do see agents negotiating down to make a deal work. Maybe they take a little bit less. We also see, more often than not, we see agents negotiating a little bit more. And so they just really believe in the product. They really believe in the exclusivity of what they can offer in their marketplace. And when there's value that only they can provide, well, they're charging more for it. Okay, cons to the Cash Plus offer is, I mentioned, it is a structured payout. And so the seller is only going to get paid out a certain percent on that first sale, and there's going to be a reserve on the second sale. And so I'm going to go back into the dashboard again so we can see what I'm referring here. Let me make this a little bit bigger, guys. All right. So for instance, the reserve fee on this one is $53,000. So that is 15%, it appears. And what the reserve is, another cool thing I'm going to kind of direct you to is we do have explanations of all of these down here in the FAQs. So as you're going through this with the seller, you can let them know that the reserve is a portion of your equity. It's set aside and dispersed to you after the home sells on the open market. So this is the mechanism. This is the structure that allows the buyer to make that full market value cash offer to the seller while only charging a fee. So the buyer charges a program fee, it's 6%. So as I go back to my cons, you can see that the program fee could be a con. It's an additional expense. Now, I do believe that sellers are willing to pay for it. We have a lot of data that shows that. There was the clever 2022 attitudes toward iBuying companies where sellers said that they would be willing to give up $45,000 for a cash sale. And so we know that sellers are off the bat ready to give up a little bit just to have a quick, easy exit. Also, we know that 1000 Watt did that study not too long ago as well. And what their study revealed is that sellers were willing to give up about 11%. And so we know that sellers are of the mindset that if I can have this convenient, certain cash offer, that's worth something. And I'm okay paying for that because it's real value to me. But the program fee could be a con, and the first payout may not be enough on the cash plus deal because it's structured. So if they don't have enough equity, you can see how this wouldn't make sense. And then another con of the cash plus offer is the home could sell for less on the open market. And so keep in mind that if the home sells for less on the open market, what's going to happen is the difference between what the buyer purchased the home for and what the home sold for on the open market is going to be deducted from the reserve, and the remaining portion is going to be returned to the seller. And so here are what I believe are the important pros and cons to this cash plus offer. And you can go through this with them, go through the breakdown. There's even a slider here. So if you want to, see, okay, well, what if the home sold for $430 on the open market? What would that look like? Or what if we did the repair strategy and the home actually sold for, $500 on the open market? What would that look like? What would my payout be then? And so you can play around with this and kind of use this as a way to show them the possibilities in the event that they want to further explore this offer. All right. So I'm going to move on to the sell now, move later. This is going to mirror the cash plus. So I'm not going to go point by point on this because most of these items I just talked about, because the structure of this offer is very similar. The biggest difference between the cash plus and the sell now, move later is that the sell now, move later is going to give them a flexible month-to-month lease back, and they're also going to be provided what that monthly lease amount would be. Okay, now I do want to share, and I have this listed on the cons, that the month-to-month lease back rent is going to be a premium. So if market value rent for that home is, let's say, $2,000, they could be looking at $2,350 or $2,500. There is a premium on that month-to-month lease back rent amount. So keep that in mind. That could discourage them from considering this option, especially in today's environment where, 7 out of 10 homeowners are locked into an interest rate of 4% or less, and their monthly payment is probably really low. Their monthly payment is likely lower than rent. And so if you look at it from that lens, sometimes that monthly lease amount kind of just is a con. So keep that in mind. But all of the other items pretty much mirror the cash plus. Again, cool offering. One thing I don't have noted on here that I will kind of speak to for a moment is on the sell now, move later. There is also the risk that market conditions could change. So if they accepted a sell now, move later offer and market conditions changed drastically, and went down, which me personally, my thesis is prices are going to remain fairly stable. But if they go down, keep in mind that it's a structured payout. And so that reserve is hedging against what the home will sell for. Okay. So next we have the fix it, then list it. And what this program allows them to do is update, renovate their home, really allows them to flip their own home with no out of pocket. The construction company actually comes in and partners with the homeowner in making these repairs and agrees to be paid at closing. So this is a great way, especially for those homeowners that maybe are equity rich, cash poor, and don't have the funds to update their home, but they know that it needs to be updated in order for it to sell for the most amount of money. Cons to this is, they either have to live in the home while it's being repaired, or they have to find temporary housing, because this technically isn't a cash offer, so it doesn't transfer ownership. They still maintain all of those home ownership costs, and they're living in this home, or they're living somewhere else while the home is being updated and then brought to market. All right. I have a couple questions here, so I'm just bouncing into the questions real quick. Soledad, has the reserves ever been short? So the great question, Soledad. So I don't have the percentage that's typically returned, but it's high. So I think the percentage is almost 10% that's typically returned to homeowners on average across the country. Now, there have been some where maybe the reserve was not returned because the loss exceeded that, or maybe only a little bit was returned. And yeah, that has happened a few times. Keep in mind that the second payout, the reserve, is hedged at that. So if there's a home that sells for way less than the reserve, then the buyer absorbs any additional loss beyond the reserve. And so the reserve is the most amount that the seller has at risk. Anything after that, the buyer would absorb that loss. And I am working on assembling the data to share with you exactly last year what was returned. That way we have all of that and can speak intelligently to that when it comes to sharing the offers. Okay, so I want to wrap up quickly. I had no idea that we would, go into this as in depth and that it would really be this long. But as you can see, when you're really explaining to people a different way or new ways or other ways, it is not as simple as, just walking in and, getting them to sign that listing. But what this is doing, and while you're doing it, you're building tremendous trust. You're showing that you've set yourself apart from the others in the marketplace. If they're interviewing other agents, oh my goodness, you've just showed them above and beyond what you have access to versus the other guy. All right. So basically, here's what I want you to know is after you've presented the offers and options, I would definitely go back in. I mentioned this. I would go back in and I would add your listing. And so I already have mine queued up in this. I just need to share it with the seller. So I've already entered my listing. And so now I'm just going to check this little box and I'm going to share it with the client. And the reason I'm doing that is so now it's going to appear in their dashboard. It's truly going to give them that side-by-side look at all of their offers and options. I'm also going to note here that, I believe your home is worth $475. And I believe if we were to bring your home to market, this is what the market would bear. And so at this point, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to ask the buyer to manually review this cash plus offer, because it's truly supposed to be a full market value cash offer. And from what I'm seeing, it's not. And so what I'm going to also do then is go in and request a manual review of that offer. Okay. So that's how I would let them know that we're going to see if we can get that offer increase. Now, by this point, you're sharing with them the offers and options, and you're going to have feedback from them on how that went. And so if you feel that these offers and options aren't a good fit for them for whatever reason, if the cash offers are too low, or, hey, really, because your home is pristine and no work is needed, and you've already shared with me that it's no big deal for the showings, all of that sort of thing, I'm confident we can do better by listing your home on the open market. And the good news is if the home doesn't sell in the time frame that you were hoping for, we always have these cash offers to revisit. So let's take a quick look at my marketing plan and what listing your home would look like. So this is just a pretty generic script. It's a way for you to pivot the conversation to then getting the listing. Because here's the thing. If they're not going to accept the cash offer, which the data shows that most sellers don't, the overwhelming majority of sellers list their home on the open market. They don't take the cash offer. And so what you want to do is you want to pivot. You want to get them to list with you. I also believe that the offers are the best hedge. I mean, my goodness, if you've looked at what Open Door is doing now, they've completely changed their messaging. Now they're telling sellers, list your home with Open Door with a guaranteed offer in hand. Okay, so they see what we see, that the cash offer is a hedge. Get the seller to list with you. Use the cash offer as a hedge because they always have that to fall back on. All right, now another thing I just want to kind of remind us is that when you are there at the listing, close. Go for the close. Have the paperwork with you. Get them to sign then if they are willing, and be confident. Ask for the business and tell them, be the professional. Here's what happens next. Sign the papers. I'll leave a copy with you. I'll pencil in my photographer. He'll be here on Monday. You mentioned that you're going to spend the weekend getting your home ready, so that should be perfect. And then I will have several days to get everything ready with my marketing team so we can be live for the weekend and the influx of buyers that are going to be out looking for homes. So pivot to closing that sale or closing that listing and getting them to sign. I was having a conversation with my husband, Jason, and for those of you that don't know, Jason and I have worked together our entire real estate careers. So he's also a realtor. And we were talking about how, you have the market and you used to have what we would call like the off-market opportunities. But what this really is this is really the market before the market. And it's the market that not everybody is aware of that exists. And it's the market that will allow you to do different things and set yourself apart from everybody else and truly bring tremendous value to sellers that they didn't even know existed. And so I want to leave you with one last thought. This is a quote by Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said, but people will not forget how you made them feel. And when you're going in on this listing and when you're bringing in these different offers and options, and when you're showing your expertise, they're going to feel like you are the expert, that you know what you're doing, that you're the one that's going to help them cross that finish line and accomplish their goals. And so I just want to encourage you today to just get out there and bring these value propositions out into your marketplace. Be confident in what you have to offer. It's truly above and beyond everybody else. And I just want to encourage you because it's an interesting time and space in our real estate industry, but I believe it's the best opportunity that we've seen, and you now have the opportunity to truly get your unfair share out there. Thank you so much for being here with me. Next Monday, Eliot will be here, and then the following Monday, I will be back. I am diving into some content. I will also be diving into some Facebook strategies for marketing your blast widget. And so I'm excited to really help you put the rubber to the road and make 2024 your best year yet. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.